Hi, Dave. Welcome to the Voiceover How Did You Do It podcast. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. And how about yourself?
I am doing well on a Tuesday.
Well, yeah. Tuesdays are okay. Mondays tough for a lot of people. However, myself,
Yeah.
I'm always happy when Monday comes because I get up and go back to work.
Yeah. Well, that is a nice part. Yeah, for sure.
When you love what you do, hey,
It's
you
not
never
a
work a day
job.
in your life. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. So, um, what are you doing now?
I'm sitting at my desk in front of my computer. I'm talking to you. Uh,
Okay.
and we're talking about voiceover, and I'm admiring your booth there. It looks pretty good. That's not a uh, uh,
No, it's
studio
not.
bricks. Is
No, it's just the foam that looks like it. It's a big room, and I have this foam and these bass traps here. And
Yeah.
then on that side, I have auto-mute blankets because that side is made of wood and this side is made of concrete.
Oh, there you go. Well,
So
looks
it's
good. Looks good.
yeah, it's and
And
it's
you're very comfortable. I'm similarly attired. Don't
yeah.
have glasses on and longer hair, but I've got my t-shirt and my sweater. You've got your t-shirt and your sweatshirt
We
there.
got our beards going on. Yours is
Got
a
the
little more
beards going.
mature than mine.
This is voiceover attire.
Nice. So what sort of projects are you working on these days? Anything you can
Well,
talk about?
I have to sign a lot of NDAs, so I can't tell you what games, but I'm working on some games. Yesterday, I spent a lot of time being a whale for an alcoholic beverage. Uh, uh, at some point, that will be out and you will hear it. I've been doing some narration. I've been doing a few other commercials, working on some cartoons that, once again, nobody wants you to tell the world what you're doing, but hey, they'll be out shortly, and then I can talk about them.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of expected that was going to be more or less the answer, but always have to ask.
Oh yeah.
And what's your website and where people can find you?
Well, DaveFennoy.com, DAVEFENNOY.com. And if you're one of those people that wants to hire me, of course, you can get in touch with one of my agents or managers. If you are one of those people who wants to learn how to do what I do a lot of teaching. You can just click on the Study VO tab.
Hmm.
And I also might suggest every Wednesday evening, I do a thing called Ask Dave Fennoy Anything on Facebook Live at 6 p.m. Pacific. Costs nothing. You can tune in, ask questions. I generally have guests. And sometimes it's just me. Sometimes I have a guest.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm talking with a guest right now, so I don't want to say who it will be or won't
Uh-huh.
be. But if there's not a guest, it'll be me.
Okay. Excellent. And that's a great opportunity because you can literally ask Dave Fennoy anything.
And ask my guests anything. And I bring on other voice actors, agents, casting directors, directors of video games, directors of commercials, other teachers in voiceover. So it's a lot of information. It's a lot of fun. And it lives afterwards on my YouTube site, which is Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training.
Nice. Excellent. Thank you. So, what were you doing before you were doing voiceovers?
Before I
There
was
was
doing
even a time
voiceovers,
like that.
I was a disc jockey at
Yeah.
KSOL 107.7 KSOL
Uh-huh.
up in the Bay Area. It was the R&B, the number one R&B station up there. Actually, it was the number one station up there when I was on in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
Worked there. Also worked a couple other stations while I was there. Most notably KDIA, which was the legendary AM R&B station. KDIA, the boss of the Bay.
Uh-huh.
And I was working under the name Billy David Ocean. Yikes.
Oh man, I actually was in the Bay Area in the 80s and I remember all of the stations.
Yeah.
Uh, I and then when I was
You
a
were
kid,
probably listening to KMEL.
um, I listened to KSJO,
KSJ, so San Jose?
San Jose. I listened to KMEL. I listened to KFRC.
Dr. Don Rose.
Dr. Don rules.
Dr.
Yep.
Don was a friend of mine. spent, I wouldn't say a lot of time with him, but just a great guy, great jock. And he passed away while I was there, as a matter of fact. And
Uh-huh.
he had diabetes and died from complications of it. But he was one of the old classic jocks.
Yes, he was. He was
Just a
amazing.
great guy.
Yeah. I grew up on him. So that, and also,
You
of course,
threw up
Dr.
on him.
Demento. Yeah.
My goodness.
I'm older than I look.
Yeah, no, you missed my joke. It
Oh,
was,
I see.
you threw up on him. You
I
just
threw up on him. Yes. No, I grew up listening to him.
I remember we had a roast for him, and of
Yeah.
course you tell horrible jokes at a roast. And he had
Yeah.
diabetes. He had his a leg removed at one point, and I remember one of my jokes, because I was one of the featured other jocks there,
Yeah.
was that, recently, Dr. Don lost his leg. Doc, you got to be more careful where you put things.
Exactly.
But you can only tell jokes like that at a roast, because that's what they're for.
Yes. Nice. I would have loved to have met him. So I was,
He was a great guy. You really would have loved to have met him.
yeah, nice. So you were doing radio, and
I was doing radio as a morning jock on a couple stations there. Of course, started overnights and that kind of thing. But yeah, I was doing radio, and I started doing voiceover there at the same time. There was a TV station, TV 20. I did promos for them. At the time, this is back in the 80s, which we could almost say was primitive. We had no cell phones. There were no computers. There was no internet. But I was the voice of the lotto line on Wednesdays when they had the lotto. I drive over from my house in Berkeley to be at a company called Megaphone to record the lotto numbers, so they could put it on a phone so people could call up and see if they won.
Right.
I was a voice of the Michael Jackson and Prince hotline.
Nice.
And also I did that love line. This was when you had 976 numbers. They were a 976 company. That's back in the old days, kids. I was doing that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And, I discovered voiceover. I was not quite on the radio yet. It was like 1981. And I was working at a radio station, and the morning guy was leaving. This was what station? The Quiet Wave. Quiet Storm.
Yeah.
The Wave here, which is like that in LA.
That's so funny. I remember all of these stations.
Yeah. And the morning guy was leaving, and we were friends. Hey, where are you going? He says, oh, I'm going over to the city. The station was in Berkeley. I'm going over to the city, San Francisco, to do some voiceover. I make more money doing that than I do on the radio. And a little bell went off. And I stopped him and like, well, tell me more. And he goes, well, you need a demo, and then you need an agent, and then you get auditions, and you audition, and you get some gigs and commercials and TV promos and cartoons. And I went, wow, that's right up my alley. But it was another 3 or 4 years before I did anything about it.
Nice. That reminded me of KFOG, which was now a rock station, but back in the day was easy listening.
Yeah.
And it was like the funniest kind of turnaround for a station ever.
Well, this is the nature of radio stations. It's the old saying, if you haven't been fired in radio, you never really were in it. And salespeople and managers would go on vacation and come back to no job. I remember being fired at one station, KRE, it was a little AM station. And I put on a record, and I had done my announcement, such and such and such and so, and somebody came back, hey, GM wants to see you upstairs. And I go upstairs, and he said, hey, yeah, Dave, come in, have a seat. I said, I have a record on, and it's only X amount of minutes. And he goes, don't worry about it, it's okay. Well, the station was going to go dark. So I happened to be on the air at the time they decided to fire everybody. So
wow.
But you know, that was part of the business in radio. Uh, everybody, yeah, well, once again, if you hadn't been fired at some point, you really weren't in the radio.
It's kind of like being in tech, you know, same sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Everybody's been at every job and somebody's been fired from everything. So, yeah. Nice. So at what point did you decide to change from not doing it for 3 to 4 years to doing it? And what
Well,
made
you
that
know, it
change for
it
you?
it, it never left me. It was a little light bubble that was constantly saying voiceover, voiceover, voiceover. But I really didn't know exactly how to go about it. But once I was spending more time on the radio, because that was like 1980, 81. I was just getting going in radio. I was pretty successful pretty fast. And within 2 or 3 years, I'm thinking, you know what, I really should do something about this. And finally, I put together a demo that was from, it was a horrible demo. It was from radio spots I had done and
Yeah,
some other voice things that I had produced from friends of mine who had bands. I had some buddies had a band called Okisha Paradox. And I did a Jamaican thing, Okisha Paradox, man. It's just your average Jamaican Celtic rock band from, you know, they were from
right.
Berkeley. Cool band. Um, and a few other things like that. Some stuff I had produced from various radio stations. And I went over, I'd sent it to Joan Spangler, who was a agent at Look. She's still an agent at Look. As a matter of fact, she's going to be one of my guests on Ask Dave Fennoy Anything, one of these Wednesdays coming up.
Nice.
And I just knew she was going to get back to me right away and say, yeah, come on over. We're going to sign you. I waited a month or so, didn't hear from her. I called her up. Her assistant said, oh, yeah, we got it. We got the tape. She'll call you. And another week or two went by and I called back. Oh, yeah, we got it. I haven't listened to it yet. We'll call you. And another week or two went by. Well, finally, this went on for about 3 months. And finally, I called over and she says, oh, she's listened to your tape. Why don't you come over on such and such a day and such a time? I lived in Berkeley, so I drove across the bridge and, you know, found my way through the warehouse district of San Francisco, went to her office, waited for 5 or 10 minutes. Finally, she brought me in. She put on my demo, started playing. She says, well, clearly you are talented, but this demo is awful. Uh, it was 5 minutes long, and that was at a time when demos were actually long. They were about 3 minutes long at that point.
Right.
And for those who don't know, there was this thing called reel-to-reel tape. You know, it was tape made out of cellulose. It was highly flammable. And to make your edits, you had to use a razor and cut it. These kids, they don't know.
I
But
know.
she said, okay, take it back, make it 3 minutes long, get rid of all that local retail stuff, put some national spots on, and come back and see me in 6 months.
Uh-huh.
And I did, and then she signed me, and I started doing pretty well there right out of the box. I booked a California lotto spot that was
Uh-huh.
pretty big. I became the voice of Marine World Africa USA. They had an award there for advertising called the Golden Prawn.
Uh-huh.
And I won a Golden Prawn for a commercial I did for Marine World Africa USA. You may dream of just once in your lifetime traveling to the vast plains of Africa for one exciting moment, from one encounter with the wild. But you needn't go so far to come so close. Come to Marine World Africa USA. And at the time, I didn't go to the ceremony. I didn't find out I'd won until
Uh-huh.
after it was over. And but I wanted the Golden Prawn Award, and it was like $500. So screw it.
Uh-huh.
So I never got my Golden Prawn Award. I won it, but I never got it.
But they charged you for the award.
Well, if I had actually purchased it, yes, then I could have had it sitting on the mat back there where I have a few other awards. Let's see if I aim that up. There's a few awards.
Just a few, yeah.
So and then end of 1989, right after the earthquake, You remember the one where the
Oh
Golden
yeah, I
Gate?
was in Santa Cruz at the time.
I was butt naked when it happened.
I was working in a psychiatric facility.
Oh boy, and you thought you were going crazy. It
No,
shook
I
the
actually was
shit out of
wondering why the patients were calmer than I was, and it took me literally 2 days to figure out that it's because they were on all the drugs.
Oh yeah, there you go.
But I
Well,
was freaking out.
I wasn't on their drugs, but there was about to be a baseball game, the
Yeah,
A's against the Giants World
right,
Series,
right.
and station KSOL was down in San Mateo,
Right.
and I was a morning guy, so I had gotten off the air, I'd done my production work, and I had driven home, and the game was about to come on, and I decided, I'm going to take a shower before the game, watch the game.
Oh,
Well,
man.
nobody was home.
Uh-huh.
My first wife at the time was out doing something, and my daughter was at school someplace. And it's about 5 o'clock. Maybe she wasn't at school. I don't remember where she was, or she wasn't home. And I went and took a shower. And since nobody was home, I stepped out of the shower. It was on, 3 steps up on a second level. And I could look down into the living room and see the television to see if the game was on. So I stepped out of the shower. I had just dried off, butt naked, looked down to see if the game was on. And that's when the earthquake hit.
Yep.
And I remember my thought, I can't even run outside. I don't have any damn clothes on. So, it shook, and I was in a doorway, so I just kind of stayed there while it was shaking. And I don't know if you remember, but it was a big wham.
Yeah.
And followed by a few more big whams and some rolling.
I was working in the medication room, setting out medications for 100 patients at the time, and everything went all over the place.
Oh man.
And a crack went down the middle of the floor. I was a psychiatric nurse.
Oh wow.
Small crack went down the middle of the floor. And it was one of those like, holy shit, and apparently I turned green. That's what I was told. I turned green.
Uh-huh.
And I grabbed one of the patients and held her in between my arms and the door. And she was one of these ones who is this very tall, redheaded woman who never said anything, but she had a crush on me. And so she sat there and just smiled at me the whole time as if nothing was going on except me holding her in my arms on the doorway.
Oh, wow. And how long have you been married now, and how many kids do you guys have?
No kids, and I've been married 3 years.
You see, that was supposed to be it.
Yeah.
Kids.
Well, yes, I understand. But to her, I was married for 15 years, and we had 2 kids.
Life.
Yeah.
But the next day I got to the station. The station was off the air. I got to the station and got us back on the air, for which they gave me a nice little plaque that's in a box someplace here in the house. And that was towards the end of 89. Then February 9th, 1990, they fired me and the whole staff. And I had been taking voiceover lessons at that point at a place called Voice Tracks.
I remember Voice Tracks.
Samantha Paris. And I had taken a class, a weekend workshop actually, with her agent from Los Angeles. And she had given me her card. This is months before. And said, hey, you're really talented. If you ever want to, come to LA, we'd love to represent you at SBV. And I put the card in my pocket. Yeah, honey, I'll probably do that. I'm the morning guy at the #1 station in town just at the moment. I'll do that later. Well, after they fired me there on the 9th, it was like, okay, where's that card? I know it's here someplace. Let me go through these drawers. Found it, called her up, asked her if she was serious. She said yes. Put a new demo together and come on down. So for it took me, that was February. It took me until May to get the demo done. And I started commuting back and forth every week.
Wow.
I lived in Berkeley. I would drive down on a Sunday night or Monday morning. First, I stayed with a buddy of mine that had gone to high school with, that was living in Santa Monica. Then I stayed with an uncle of mine who lived in Los Angeles. After that, I got an apartment with a buddy of mine. But for about 8 months,
that's a hell of a commute.
That was a hell of a commute. I had a little,
especially by car.
yeah, had a little Toyota MR2. Man, I put some miles on that bad boy.
Yeah,
That,
those were fun little cars too.
oh yeah, it got stolen twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was living in North Hollywood, and one day I came out. I parked it in front and came out, and maybe I parked in the back. Let me go see. I thought I parked it in the front, or wasn't in the. And I called the cops. Hey, I think somebody stole my car. Yeah, he stole your car. Okay. Listen, can you call us back in about half an hour? We got a lot of stolen cars. I can't talk to you right now. Click.
Yeah.
Crazy times. And it got stolen twice. And State Farm, who I had been with since I was 16 years old, dropped me.
Oh man.
I'm never going back to State Farm.
State Farm, you're in good hands. Not anymore.
No, they slapped me with their hands.
That's right.
Well, that was just one of the little adventures of coming to LA. What the cops told me when I finally did talk to them, well, you know, car theft is a cottage industry here. So,
yeah.
But I did okay. I did have to go back on the radio for a little bit, for about a year. End of 90, there was a recession. And although I'd been in a couple of cartoons and I had started doing TV promos for some of the networks, work was a little spotty. So I took a part-time job on KACE R&B station here in Los Angeles. And the program director left and went to a jazz station and brought me along as the morning guy on the jazz station. So for about a year and a half or so, I stayed on in radio, and then things really took off. I was doing promos for several stations. I was a voice of later with Gregg Kinnear. I had a lot of good stuff going on. So I left the radio for good and have never looked back.
Nice. What do you feel like you owe your success so much to?
Oh, I'm just brilliant and wonderful.
Well, yeah.
You know, I think it goes back to my mom. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. My mother was a school teacher. My father was a veterinarian who ended up working for USDA as a meat inspector who traveled the world.
That just sounds like a character there, doesn't it? What do? I'm a meat inspector who travels the world.
Well, yeah, the position he was in was going to other countries that wanted to export meat to the United States to make sure that their meat processing facilities were up to our standards.
Right.
He always says what's a joke because their standards were so much higher than ours. But I got to spend some time with him when he was overseas. And my mother, the school teacher, made sure that I read well. So from the time I was a child, I was reading signs as we drove by places. So my reading was pretty good. I had been sent to a private boys' school. So I got to hobnob with the glitterati. Well, they weren't really glitterati, but wealthy kids. Yeah. I was first Black kid to go to this school. This private school. It's a country day school. So I had the benefit of a lot of learning I might not have had I remained at the Cleveland public schools where I grew up. And that kind of helped me along the way. I am able to talk to anybody. I'm not intimidated by anybody. I can, as we Black folks say sometimes, I can code. If I'm hanging with my boys, we can talk, we can have, you know, but if in the general market of America, I can communicate. And so often people are judged by how well they speak, how well they communicate. Right. So not being afraid of anybody or worried about, I'm not going to speak well enough in front of these people. A lot of confidence to go where I needed to go, do what I needed to do. And, you know, had learned early to take the words off the page, to be able to look at some copy and bring to it, if not what it needed, what I wanted. Um, and I took acting lessons when I was a kid. I was a child actor.
Uh-huh.
And a theater major. I went to college twice, went as a theater major for a couple of years, dropped out, went on the road as a musician for a couple of years,
Uh-huh.
went back to school, finished in music, and got married, had a kid. The rock and roll thing wasn't going to happen. So that's when I went into radio. So we're kind of convoluting
Uh-huh.
the life and times of Dave Fennoy.
As narrated by Dave Fennoy.
As narrated by Dave Fennoy.
I'm Dave Fennoy, and I approve this message.
Well, I'm not running for nothing.
Nice.
Although, considering some of the people who have made it to Congress, anybody could.
You could at this point.
I could run. I could win.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially if I start the whole QAnon thing. Oh, wow, he's QAnon. He's black. He's crazy. Let's get him in there.
Exactly. Too bad, but I'm sure that it's a what do you call it? KGB thing, NSB, NF, whatever it is these days.
Oh yeah, they're Putin's laughing.
I know,
he's not laughing so much anymore now. They had the dissident who returned, got arrested, and now they're having protests all over 11 time zones in Russia.
Right.
He's
not laughing now, but he was laughing recently.
Yeah. Well, he had Trump in his pocket, so what?
Yeah.
Well, let's not get into politics. It's it.
Yeah. So what kind of suggestions do you have for new VAs?
Well, it's a different world than when I started. You're going to have to learn so much more than I did. I didn't have a home studio until about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 20 years ago. And I've been doing this for 30 years. But now, if you're going to take this business seriously, one, you need to get trained. B, you need to start putting together a place to work, especially now in the pandemic. I had a studio because I had such a successful career in TV promos. And there was a point where we went from going to the studios at NBC, CBS, the WB, ABC, and we started, doing ISDN in our homes. Well, ISDN is a dinosaur. There's a few of them left still running along, but the internet has changed the world, and the pandemic has changed it even more.
Right.
If you're going to be successful in this career now, you have to have a broadcast quality studio so you can broadcast.
Yes.
And it's interesting. I had Bob Bergen, the voice of Porky Pig, on my Ask Dave Fennoy Anything this last Wednesday, and we were talking about it. Well, Bob's been killing it for 30 years, but until the pandemic, he didn't have a studio that was quality enough to work in. It was okay to send out auditions, but he didn't have Source Connect or Connection Open or any of those ways of connecting with clients, and that's a necessity now. Now, the plus size, back in the day, equipment for studios was so much more expensive.
Oh my God, yes.
If you've got a computer, and if you've got a Mac computer, all the better. But hey, PCs work. Microphones, a decent microphone doesn't cost what it once did. I've got Neumanns and Sennheisers and a few others. I got a collection. But you can get a decent microphone for a couple $100 now, where it used to be you'd have to spend at least $800 or $900, and more likely a couple thousand.
Right.
You used to have a tape machine. You don't need that anymore. Now you have a DAW, and you can get Audacity for free.
Yeah.
Twisted Wave, if you're a Mac guy, for about $70. And there are numerous other DAWs that you can record on, and none of them record any better than another. The sound isn't going to be any different based on the DAW you're using. The sound will be different based on your microphone, your environment, what your preamp is, what plugins you may be using. So you have to learn to be a bit of an engineer, not a real engineer, but enough of an engineer that you can set yourself a good level, have a clean sound coming out, and send your product MP3s, waves, AIFFs to your clients and to your agent. We also have, now back when I came along, there were no things like pay-to-play sites.
Right.
Which, I mean, I know a lot of people are making them work.
It's a mixed blessing and curse. Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse. People complained about, oh, my agent never gets back to me, man. You know, they're taking 10%. Well, those pay-to-play sites are making you pay first to get the auditions, and then they take a cut of what you get after you book something.
Yeah, especially voices.
Oh man, they make, you know, the client may have said, hey, I got $10,000 for this. You bid 1,000. Well, guess who gets the other 9,000?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm not a big fan. They're part of the landscape now in voiceover. I'm not sure if and when they're ever going to go away. Sooner or later, everything changes. But you have to find, a lot of times these days, you have to market yourself. You didn't have to be such a marketer back in the day. Now you need a website. You need your demos on that website. You need a way for them to get in touch with you and book you easily, or get in touch with your agents and book you easily. It's just a lot more steps to go through, but at the same time, there's more work than ever before. Also because of the internet. I break it down into what I call high profile work and not so high profile work. I've been living my life mostly in the high profile world, which is commercials on radio and television, TV promos on television and radio, cartoons and video games, and narration that shows up on television, like Discovery Channel, Science Channel, that kind of thing. But there's a whole world of work now in corporate narration, in e-learning, in audiobooks that are not going to be broadcast, but the money spins too. It's amazing.
It's still green. Exactly.
It's still green.
Or digital.
Yeah. Plus, there's more competition now than ever before.
Yeah.
Voiceover used to be a small, pretty much boys club with a few women. I remember when I got in, I think 11% of after work went to women. Now that's much more even. Women have taken their place. When I got in, Black people in voiceover there were just a few of us. That's not the case anymore. There's some of everybody now. What an American voice is these days is Black, white, Asian, Latin, young, old, high, low, regional, not regional. We have a vast, diverse community that speaks to a vast, diverse America.
Yeah. I'm Dave Fennoy, and I approve this message.
Well, I think would have to cut these before I could enter Congress.
I don't know. It depends. You're running in LA, or, you know, I think that could work. Cool. So you want to dry read the copy?
Okay.
Let's do the Lyft ad.
Okay, here we go. Lyft is a lot more than just a car ride. Yeah, you heard me right. Shared rides, bikes, scooters, fancy cars, public transit, and more. And they're all available with your Lyft app. We're also happy to pick you up, but we can help you get there more ways than you thought. Download the Lyft app today and get going. Very
clean. What's your process in that when you look at new copy?
Well, I'm a believer in studying copy. That was pretty much a dry read because you just sprung that thing on me just before we left.
I spring it on everybody.
My belief system, because I read pretty well cold, and this is short enough, I could get away with that. But what I always suggest people to do is read it 3 times in your head and then 3 times mouthing it, because basically our job is to take somebody else's words and make them our own. And that seems to me, I teach a lot, and that seems to me to be the biggest issue people have, is they're so concentrated on reading these words and trying to sound good that they forget about the part of, I am one human being talking to another human being.
Yeah.
And in the terms of video games and animation, I am a character saying these things. So for me, The words are just part of who that character is. What's that character's worldview? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are they doing? What's the relationship with the character that they're talking to? And some of that comes to this. Who am I in this commercial? Who am I talking to?
Uh-huh.
And how do I feel about that person and what I'm saying? But so many, Lyft is a lot more than just a car ride. Yeah, you heard me right. Shared. Right. And so you get some semblance of that. It might be a little better or a little worse, but it's not translating the written word into the spoken word. People tend to want to enunciate too clearly. Lyft is a lot more than just a car ride. Yeah, you heard me right. Shared rides by... Well, that doesn't sound real because that's not how we speak. Lyft is a lot more than just a car ride. Yeah, you heard me right. Shared rides, bikes, scooters, fancy cars, public transportation, and more. And they're all available with your Lyft app. We're also happy to pick you up, but we can help you get there more ways than you thought. Download the Lyft app today and get going. And who we want, 20 years ago, Lyft is a lot more than just a car ride. Yeah, you heard me right. Share that might be the read 20 years ago. But we're in a society now where we just want to hear from somebody that kind of reminds us of us. Somebody that I can believe, as opposed to, hey, a Lyft is a lot more than just a car ride. Yeah, you heard me right. Shared right. We don't want to be...
Got a car right here. You want a car? Yeah.
We don't want to be sold anything.
Right.
We want to hear from somebody that we relate to, sharing some information with us.
Mm-hmm. Nice. You got any favorite characters you want to do on it?
Well, sweetheart, Lyft is a lot more than just a car ride. Yeah, you heard me right. Shared rides, bikes, scooters, fancy cars, public transit, and a whole lot more, if you know what I'm saying. And they're all available from your Lyft app. Now, we didn't have a Lyft app. We didn't have a Lyft. We didn't have an app back in the day. We're always happy to pick you up, but hey, we can help you get there, if you know what I mean, in more ways than you thought. Download the Lyft app today and get going.
And get off my lawn.
Hey, get off my lawn! Lyft is a lot more than just a car ride. God dang it. Hey, you heard me right. Get off my lawn and get left. Lyft is a lot more than just a car ride. Yeah, you heard me right. Shared rides, bikes, scooters, fancy cars, public transportation. I destroy them all. No.
We need swelling music in the background for that one.
Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly. Now you've done like what, 400 games? Is that right?
Over 400 games.
Over 400.
I'd have to count again, but it's somewhere between 400 and 500, right around the 450 mark, I think. And when you're doing a game, you play a main character, they're going to have you do 2 or 3 others. So, we're looking 1,500, 2,000 characters, including games and animation.
Wow. Yeah. IMDb needs to catch up with you.
Well, they've done pretty well.
They've only got like 216 entries for you.
Oh, well, you see, they're behind.
They're behind.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I didn't know I knew it was a lot, but I'd never counted the entries there.
Yeah. So I didn't count them by hand. They had a summary.
Oh,
I wasn't like 1,
so 2, it would have been
3.
It would have been that easy for me.
Yeah. Sorry, Dave. You got any audition suggestions for newbies?
You mean how to audition?
Yeah.
Don't ask yourself the question, do I sound good? Ask yourself the question, do I believe the read? Do I believe the character speaking?
Mm-hmm. Nice. Very good. That's really good advice, actually, because it's so easy to get caught up in how do you sound.
Yeah.
Especially if you're new and you're all in your head and trying to figure out, is this what they want? And, all of that.
Yeah. Don't get caught up in the words. Don't get caught up in your sound. Get caught up in your character.
Do I believe it?
Do I believe it?
Nice. Now, do you sit or stand most of the time when you do stuff?
I stand most of the time.
Yeah.
unless I'm doing something like an audiobook, of which I've done 3 and hope to never do a 4th. But yeah, 99% of the time I'm a stander.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like long form that much.
Yeah.
It's
I discovered my attention span just isn't enough.
yeah.
Plus, I don't care who you are. You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And those mistakes have to be corrected, and my ego is too large to send it to someone to edit. I must edit them myself. So, and the money's so crazy.
Do you have the vapors?
The vapors?
Yes. The vapors. You have the vapors, David.
Oh. But one of the reasons I've only done so few audiobooks, and I've actually won some awards for the audiobooks I've done, but they were because the subject matter was something I was really interested in. And the one that I won the best award for, I did for free. Just because it was, I got to be John Lewis telling his story.
Nice.
In a series of books, March 1, 2, and 3, about his life in the civil rights movement. But
that's an amazing opportunity right there.
Yeah. But when you look at audiobooks, and I'm not saying this, that people shouldn't do it. It's America. We got choices, God damn it. Do the things that you want to do. I get people all the time that, yeah, well, I'm not interested in commercials or narration. I just want to do video games and cartoons. Well, if you can do it, fine. You may discover later on that you want to add some other genres to your voiceover resume. But, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
Sit or stand. We were talking about audition suggestions. I can't rewind this live, unfortunately.
No, that's okay.
You were having the vapors about something.
Yeah. Oh, I don't remember what now, but I've hit that age where I walk into a room and what the hell did I come here?
You were talking about audiobooks and how you don't want to do another one.
The story always pops into my mind. I was doing promos for ABC. And I walked in, they handed me the script. I said, it's just one word. They said, yeah, say it. I sat down on the microphone. Next. You're done. Get out of here. They put it on 25 spots, and 2 weeks later, I had a check for $5,000.
Wow.
With audiobooks, you're looking at $75 to $150 per finished hour, typically.
Yeah.
But it's going to take you 3 or 4 hours per finished hour. So by the time you're done, you might be making 25 to a high of 75 an hour for that book. And that's not a lot of money for the time you're spending doing it.
Right.
So that always pops into my mind. And oh, geez, it's just not. And you think back to the day when, what were some of the commercials? Sizzler. Do you know how much money that person made on that? Or Beatrice, how much money was made with that one word that went on thousands of spots?
Rosebud.
Rosebud, yeah. And as voice actors, just in solidarity with us, we are also workers in America. Yeah. Some of us are getting paid more than some others, and some workers, hopefully we're not working for that, $10-15 an hour. But we all are in the same boat in terms of a country now that over the last 50 years has been anti-worker. Raises have gone to the dominant money makers, the billionaires, the 1% class, whereas the rest of us have not had a raise. However, prices have continued to go up. Yeah. Your rent's gone up, the food's gone up, cars have gone up, fuel has gone up, but you haven't gone. The reason we had these nutballs raiding Congress and the Senate, the Capitol, is because so many people are in pain from trying to make it day to day. Right. And they think, oh, it's the liberals that are our enemy. No, it's not the liberals that are your, it's
the elite.
What's that? It's the elite. And when I say elite, I'm not talking about somebody who went to Harvard. I'm talking about the people who have billions of dollars.
Betsy DeVos, for example.
Betsy DeVos, for
just to
example.
pull someone I hate out of the air.
Yeah. Who these people who have billions of dollars and what they want are more tax breaks.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, middle-class people, lower middle-class people, average working people, we're not getting the tax breaks. And the prices of everything continues to go up. And yeah, I do very well. I live in a nice house. I drive a Tesla. I'm still a working guy. And I think just because I might make, I'll just throw out a number, not necessarily, but if you're a person making $200,000 a year, you're doing pretty well, but you're still a working stiff.
Right, exactly. You're
And
still
that
middle
person,
class.
you're still more in the same class with that person making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year than that billionaire.
Yeah.
But somehow we have gotten people to believe that a worker in a restaurant that's going to go from $7.50 to $15 an hour, somehow that's going to hurt us.
Yeah, no, not at all.
What it means is that person is going to make more money, which what are they going to do with it? They're going to spend it.
Right.
Which means not only will other restaurants, clothing stores, car dealerships, everybody that person is going to be spending money with, and there's a lot more of them than there are billionaires.
Yep.
All those people are going to benefit. All the rest of us middle-class people will benefit from the lowest of us having a wage increase.
Yeah. Because they spend it. They don't put it into a yacht. They don't put it into
or worse, they don't put it into an account overseas to keep from paying taxes on it.
Yeah, exactly. So good.
But I hope people will wake up and stop believing, it's amazing what we believe. There's an old saying from Mark Twain. It's easier to fool a man than once fooled, convince him he has been fooled.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Can you do your best Viva la Revolution voice now?
Viva la Revolution!
Off with their heads. Yes.
Well, let's not go that far.
Rational people can disagree on that.
They're listening. Yeah, you know what? And I know we're joking here.
Yeah.
That's exactly the people who went in to the Capitol. Hang Mike Pence.
I know.
I'm not a Mike Pence fan, but I'm not looking to hang Mike Pence.
No.
Kill Nancy Pelosi, kill the squad, kill this one, kill that. No, not the way.
No.
And
these people don't need to be hung. They need to be drawn and quartered. I don't know what those people were thinking. You see, it's a matter of taste. You just have to. But seriously, that's the problem.
It's quite sad that these poor deluded fools were moved by their racism, by their anger, by their struggle with life.
And the lies they were told about the election being lost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The lies they've been told, and these aren't new lies. These lies have been told for several decades now.
Yeah.
And we've just gotten to crazier. The whole QAnon thing. Yes, there's a cabal of politician and Hollywood elites who are having sex with children and drinking their blood.
Yeah. It sounds an awful lot like blood libel to me.
Yeah.
So.
And you almost feel sorry for them. And I bet you know some people. Who are those people?
Yeah, I cut some of them off too.
Well, some of them you've had to cut off.
Yeah.
But it's sad.
It is sad.
It really is sad.
It's sad when you're that far gone that you overreact to everything that doesn't completely fit in with your worldview. And that anything that doesn't completely fit into your worldview seems like a dire threat. That is very sad and dangerous.
And dangerous.
And we're going to fix that with voiceover.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you something about the voiceover community. Despite the fact that there are some of those people there, I still think the voiceover community is one of the best working communities out here.
Yeah.
Voiceover people tend to be very helpful, very cooperative, very supportive of one another. It's one of the things I like best about the business. you know, if something comes my way and it's like, this isn't for me. Who do I know? Oh yeah, let me call so-and-so. As opposed to, you know, sometimes you go, when you used to be able to go someplace to audition and there were some models in there, which you kind of like to look at, but they're all looking at each other like, who does she think she is? She's such a bitch.
I hate her. I hate her nails. I hate her hair. Her hair. I want her hair. I hate it.
I went to the right doctor to get my boobs.
You're definitely living in LA.
Oh yeah. Where are you, by the way? I'm
in Durham, North Carolina.
Oh man. Oh man.
Hotbed of acting and voiceover.
Well, but you know what?
Yeah.
Thanks to the internet.
Exactly. Thank you, Zoom. Thank you, internet. Thank you, Source Connect. Thank you, pandemic.
Well, I actually have no thanks for the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I would encourage people to stay safe. I have a daughter that's a emergency room physician in New York. Another daughter in New York's an interior designer. Fortunately, her office is out of her home. But the physician was there for the madness in New York. She works in the Bronx at Mount Sinai, and
oh my God,
yeah, she was there.
I'm glad she's okay.
Yeah, she's okay. We were very worried about her, but she's okay. This thing ain't no joke.
No.
And the idea that people are telling you that it is, and coming up with reasons why 400,000 plus people who have died, and you're trying to figure out a way to say, oh, they all didn't die of COVID. Oh no, it's really they're getting paid extra money if they say it was COVID. No, where did all these extra bodies come from? They've got
crazy.
They've got refrigerator trucks to stack bodies in.
Yeah. And we're going to fix that with voiceover.
And we're going to fix that with voiceover.
We are going to fix that with voiceover.
Because it begins with V, and that's the same beginning of vaccine.
And also, V for Vendetta.
V for victory.
V for victory.
And us guys say V for vagina.
V for vagina. V for... I'm done.
Vegetables?
Vegetables.
Vegans? No.
Vegans?
Not V for vegans.
Yeah. Vivisection? No. That's
for victory.
Man. V for victory. So
we will be victorious.
So self-promotion time, man. What would you like to promote?
I would like to promote, if you are somebody who wants to learn how to do voiceover, you can visit my website, davefennoy.com, click on the Study VO tab, and you can book yourself. You can do one coaching session, or for, a deal, 5, or even a better deal, 10. Every Wednesday. If you just go and sign up, you'll be getting information about when I'm teaching and where, what kind of deals, and you'll get a reminder every week about Ask Dave Fennoy Anything, which I do on Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific on Facebook Live, where it's me or other people in the business who have been in the business for a good long time, have some success, and have a story to tell and information to share.
And you do the voiceover PhD as well.
I do the voiceover PhD. We just did about once a year. We'll put together a package to sell all a bunch of the voiceover workshops that I've done. They include narration, voiceover 101, and voice acting for video games. I'm getting ready to do another one that it's already sold out on self-directing.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Because we're all in our home studios now. How do we handle it? How do we know when our ears are telling us the right thing? One of the biggest problems we have, especially people who maybe have come out of radio or are older and listen to the big voice guys who were talking like this all the time, and they think that's what sounds right. And how to retrain yourself to hear yourself a little differently.
Yeah. So what was the one that just sold out on self-directing?
Yeah, on self-directing. I'm doing that through Voice Tracks, San Francisco. As a matter of fact, that's where I took voiceover classes
Right.
back in the 80s, back there. Sonny,
Well, prospector.
I was just a whippersnapper back then.
Yeah, to voiceover uphill both ways.
Yeah. I had to do voiceover in the cold for 2 miles.
That's right. Our microphones were made of wood.
We had to make our own microphones. Good.
That's right. Piezoelectric, you kids are spoiled.
Yeah, dig it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, cool. What were you going to say?
Not a thing. I was just babbling.
That's all right. I do that too. Well, it's nice to have you on, Dave. I appreciate your time. Any final words?
For those who are listening, thank you for listening. And I hope I have offered you some information that helps. My mother was a school teacher, and she used to try to get me when I was going to college. Oh, you should get a teaching certificate. And I was like, Mom, oh, come on now. I'm at that time actor or musician. I thought I would hate teaching and grading papers and things. One of my favorite things to do as a voice actor now is teach other voice actors. And yes, I make money doing it, but I also learned that if I don't charge, people don't take it seriously.
Right.
But I really have something to share with people. And if I'm not the one, I can point you to one who can help you.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, Dave Fennoy. It's been a pleasure having you.
My pleasure, man. Thank you for inviting me. This has been a pleasure. I appreciate you allowing me to vent and talk and forget what I was saying and all those.
That's all right. I really enjoyed talking to you.
All the best, man.
You too.